Welcome to Headkrack After Hours. Are some guys, man, who this was a surprise. If I was to have a 2023 bingo card of two people who would go in the studio and cook up something outside of the norm that you would expect them to come back with, it would be these guys. One time for Big Gipp and James Worthy. What's up, fellas? Congrats on the new project. Gipp and Worthy. Love the way it's going down, and I can't front. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't know we was going to be talking to the ladies like this, giving that different slice of life, man. First and foremost, how did this even come together?
Ooh, you started off, Gippy.
Well, I mean, Corrupt pulled us together, man. My guy, Corrupt. He was working with James Worthy out on the east side, and he called me one day. He said, "Gipp, I got this song. Would you like to be on it?" I said, "I'll be there in 30 minutes." I showed up at James' house. I jumped on the song. This song turned out to be the first single, Top of the World. So there, we just started working. We did a song we had a song called No Drive on TRU. James released his solo record overseas for his new record. It had on there that's called TikTok. So after we started going to the studio, we got comfortable with each other. You know, man, Craig, it take a lot to get going to the studio really to start recording. So, but it was him, man. He had everything that I was raised with and raised up, believing in. He had the skill, the foresight, and the tracks were amazing. So he really did a real good kind of new platform to kind of figure out where I could go for the future. And the future was, really having a relationship and speaking to women, which I've only done on probably one song. That's probably beautiful.
Beautiful, exactly.
This is just great situation because it gave me an outlet of where I can go for the rest of my career.
Man.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, man. Look, he set it up.
Yo, and I can't front, the dynamics complement each other well. I mean, for everybody who may just because of this project be hearing about James Worthy for the first time, I mean, the brother's accolades speak for themselves, man. He's worked with a little bit of everybody. Whether you want something hardcore, whether you want something smooth, whether you want something earthy, he got you covered. And then the swoop through and hit you with the vocals too. Like this project, yo, you always deliver in the studio, James, but I feel like, this might show the hip hop world that you might be the new go-to guy, being that everybody else that was doing hooks is kind of finding themselves in jail these days.
Look, it might be that, man. Look, and me, Crack, I'm always a workaholic. I stay in the lab, and you've been to the lab before. And right now we just want to make something different and something that feels good, feels different as well. Like, we weren't trying to chase nothing with this. We literally we were in the same studio working on this, and when we were working on it, it was nothing else forced. You know what I mean? I think that's why people are gravitating towards it a lot, because of the energy, and they could feel the synergy between what we made. And it's only a 5-piece. You know what I mean? We didn't want it to be super long. It's 5-piece high.
And it seems to be the attention span of today's, youth as it relates to music, and even the way people are digesting music. Because I mean, we all came up in the era of like, no, I have a whole album with a whole album worth of things to say, and you about to catch these 20 tracks and this 3-disc, expanded edition, the whole 9. How does it feel to make those type of adjustments? Because a lot of times we do have a lot more to say. However, when you've said a lot ahead of time, well, damn, if I just got to do 2 verses and shit, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, do you like this better, or do you prefer the full length approach?
I really like this. I think, me and James were speaking on it before we even dropped into music. And, I was just thinking about, we were just thinking about what were some of the most monumental albums that ever dropped in history. And one that came to mind was Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, their first EP. It stopped hip hop when that came out.
Yeah.
And I was just feeling like, with our collaboration, we kind of like doing the same thing in what we're doing, because we're speaking on one subject matter. The music is done by one person. And I just felt like 5 songs that were great is way better than the whole album full of nothing.
Yeah.
There's no skips here. You know what I mean? You just, you kind of pop it on, you let that thing vibe, and by the time it's done, you're like, damn, let me rewind it because it was a one hitter quitter. It's like a Tyson fight back in the days. And then you can watch it 3 more times before the night's over.
Yeah.
Yo,
And,
go ahead.
and then the girls, man, like this is the first time the women can say, "Hey, man, 2 grown men went in the studio right now and did music just for us."
Yeah.
That's it. Like, the women get so many, they get labeled so many kind of ways. We just wanted to make sure that we said, given word, we love it.
Yeah. It's all about the messaging too, and with every concept that we put in the record, like I didn't want it to be redundant. I didn't want it to be the same. Like we really just having different conversations with women in each record. You know what I mean? And I think that's the whole premise of how people are hearing it. Like they'll probably hear "Let You Go" and feel one way. Then they hear "Top of the World" and feel a whole different way going into Distance. You know what I mean? Which is coming out to be one of the favorites for the ladies these days. So you know what I mean? It's a little something for everybody.
You're definitely meeting them where they at. You definitely, showing off that grown and sexy, because one thing that hip hop has been having a hard time doing is like, reaching that maturity level that sometimes, some of these other genres do. Now, it's not to say that there hasn't been artists making that attempt and doing it, but how many years away do you feel like we are from like an adult contemporary hip hop category in the Grammys and some of these other award shows? Because they always say it's a young man's game. However, as the culture gets older and grow up, some of our best MCs are 40 plus, 50 plus.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we just did it for you. We just given word just created a new lane called player music, which is really R&B. So at the end of the day, for me, I mean, we just gave all the older artists somewhere to go. Speaking on love can never have an age limit. So
Absolutely.
only thing that has an age limit is you being in the club with the chains on and trying to be young. That has an age limit. But to speak to a woman in a loving way and a respectful way in music, hey man, there is no ceiling and there is no age limit.
Yeah. Life and love. There's no limits on that.
Big facts. Yo, bro, we've all been kind of doing this for a while, What was your first, what's my man from Lethal Weapon? What was your first Murtaugh, I'm getting too old for this shit moment? You know what I mean? Where like you realize, what, I need to pivot and go do something else. Or like, damn, like all of a sudden I'm like older than everybody in here. Like when did you have that moment and then started to adjust your artistry to, well, I mean, it seems like Gipp, you've always stayed the course. You've always done you.
I've always looked like a grown older man. So for me personally, it's always been that way for me.
I feel
I don't think I've ever gotten the mic and rap like I am my age. You know what I mean? So I've always been foresighted that when I rap, I always thought about how will I feel if I rap this when I was this age compared to this age. And to tell you the truth, going on the stage and every weekend, I have no problem saying my verses because I feel exactly the same I did when I wrote it when I was 26.
Yo, and there's so many artists that cannot say that. You know what I mean? Like, and I have conversations with people all the time, just talk about like, people who are able to pull that off. Like shoot, I would say 99% of anything that came out of the Dungeon family, because it's rooted in truth and reality, it still matters now. And there's a lot of the rambunctious music that maybe we grew up on that,
It doesn't matter.
maybe your knees won't allow you to slam as hard in 10 years. Or you know what I'm saying? Or, oh, we jumping around as high, or even like, just some of the, like the hardcore stuff. Cause like, shoot, cats is pushing 60.
Yeah, because how you gonna really feel that, trying to be the dope boy. And you ain't the dope no more.
Right.
Yeah. You're,
With me never speaking from that perspective, I've left my door open where I can put it as long as I want to.
I feel you. And Gipp, you haven't no, not Gipp, but James, you having to wear dual hats as not only an artist, but also as a producer.
Yeah.
How do you maintain keeping your sound fresh to where like, damn, man, you still using that 808 kick from blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like, how do
Yeah.
you keep it fresh on your end?
Man, just staying motivated and staying consistent with new projects. You know what I mean? Whether it's with major artists or independent artists, like I always try to stay creative as possible. And not really listen to everybody else either. I think that's always been a thing with me is I'm not trying to recreate. I'm not trying to copy. Like I'm always trying to, figure out what's the next lane or what's the next thing that people can follow themselves. I've never been a follower. So, when I'm creating, like I'm always thinking about like, okay, what can I use this in the future for, and how is it going to impact music as a whole in the future too? So I always keep those things in my mind when I'm creating.
Word. Now, I've known both of you guys for a long time, different lengths. I remember the first time I got a chance to actually meet you, Gipp, was 1,000 years ago, it seems. And this is when I was still living in Dallas. And you guys came to the Arista offices, for like a meet and greet kind of situation, and like always down to earth. And then you fast forward to now, you're the same down to earth, approachable cat you've always been. James, you've always been like willing to help and lend your assistance to people who need, that energy. How hard do you feel it is for people to maintain the same integrity that they came into the business with? Because, this show business is a drug and not everybody come out of it the same way they walk through the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, with me, I always pride myself on humility. And, I've never been one to really uh, think that, my success or whatever I've been doing is bigger than anybody else. At the end of the day, we all trying to get to different places in life. And, I'm just a creative at the end of the day. So, whether, it's successful or not, I'm always going to be creating. And I think that's what keeps me grounded and to continue to keep going and work with other people, because I always say we stronger together than without each other.
Real. Well, you know me, man. It's just hey, man. I was raised by a different type of man, so I don't know nothing about a lot of the stuff that these people get into. I'm just looking at some places ain't for you,
Yeah.
some rooms ain't for you, some circles ain't for you. So as long as you stay in the rooms and circles that you belong in, you won't wind up in the place you don't need to be.
Indeed. Now, individually, what would y'all feel like, or would you say your biggest achievement or your biggest, I mean, because like some people put the achievement as like, oh man, when I finally got my first check for blah, blah, blah. But maybe sometimes it's about the impact that maybe you realize your music had on people. What was it for y'all that you feel like was your biggest achievement being in this business?
Mm, that's a tough one. Man, I've been, fortunate enough to do so many different things, but my whole thing is like I'm just happy that, I'm still able to make an impact and do what I love to do at this stage in the game. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it ain't always gonna be last long for everybody. You know what I mean? So I'm just blessed and happy to keep doing it.
Me, I love reinventing myself. And I think I did it about 4 or 5 times. So, I just love hip hop. I love music. So when you meet somebody as innovative as the greatest James, it gives artists like me that may have been in the game a few years. It gives us a new life. It gives us a breath of fresh air when you can hear somebody move you with music. It makes the pen start working again. So for me to be able to even go in the studio and write these songs at this point, you know, it just lets people know that the skill never leaves you. You just got to pay attention to it and give it the time that it deserves to be able to give it back to you. And that's the greatest thing about me being in this situation that, wow, like if this turns out to be a classic, man, how many have I been on? I
Quite a
can't
few.
else.
Yo, it ain't no fluke. I mean, and do you treat it, both of y'all, do y'all both treat like, like moving the pen, like working out? Do you feel like if you ain't moved it in a while, kind of like your first day back in the gym, if you ain't worked out in a minute, like, the push-ups a little bit more difficult, you can't get that mile in on the treadmill, like, or like, you could take a break and come back just like you just hit pause. Like, how is it for y'all?
Mm. Man, this for me personally, like to me, you know, when I write, I find myself when I'm writing now, I'm writing like water, like ideas is coming in, ideas and melodies are really fast. You know, I think I'm in a mode right now to where like, you know, creativity is at its highest. So I think Gipp Worthy is probably like the tip of the iceberg of what else we could do. Because we've already been asked, where the Gipp Worthy 2 at? You know what I mean? So I think, you know, just by me being in that mode and Gipp being in that mode too, man, y'all just gonna hear a lot more from us. But we're gonna keep getting better at the records and the music. Like you might hear a little bit more of you know, you might go EDM on y'all. Who knows?
The festivals be something else. You know what I mean? Why not get a piece of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what y'all doing, Sean.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, man. Anytime people can figure out a way to not only extend their lifeline, but figure out new and creative ways to say things that have been said before. But like, you know, like once again, going back to what we talked about at the beginning, no one's heard this perspective from you, Gipp, outside of like, you know, beautiful skin. You know what I mean? So to hear you do it and do it flawlessly and sound like, whoa, this was supposed to have been happening. But I always peeped your player energy. So I always knew it was always there. Like, yo, this brother who done lived some day, you know, lived through some times, you know what I'm saying? He experienced life, you know what's going on. And you know, and James, you always got that magic too. And just the pairing was like, you know, when I saw it, I was like, well, damn. I love to see dope people and
You're
dope
like, well,
energy
damn.
find each other. You know what I mean? So, do we get treated to like a mini tour? Like, what's going on? Where can we see this operation live?
A mini tour. Wow. We right now is just we concentrating on we got to drop the video, then we got to do
Okay.
the movie, then we're gonna go on the road. But yes, we in talks right now. We just want to make sure that when we do get to really present giving word that we do it on our terms and that we do it at a high level. So we're gonna sit back and see where the record takes us, so that when we hit the stage, we match exactly what the record is.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for it because you know I've been to many a Goody Mob show, and you know like no matter what time of day it is or where it fall in the lineup, Gipp coming alive. You know what I mean? And
And
it's
we,
on you. I don't know how I've never seen you perform.
Yeah, man. You got to see a James Worthy show, man. You got to
Yo,
see that.
it's gonna happen. It's on my bucket list. I'm glad all three of us survived the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Everybody breathing the same. Anybody skin ashy? We good?
I'm great.
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. I'm great.
Well, fantastic. I'm glad y'all made it to the surface to deliver this new opus, Gipp and Worthy. You know, far as like, you know, like taking the fast track to get to where you want to get in this business. Some people, you know, they do that thing, you know, man, they dumb it all the way down and like, all right, well, I know I can rap, but I'm gonna do the thing.
Yeah.
Y'all definitely took the scenic route throughout your whole career. And I think that also helped extend the lifeline. Would you have done anything different?
Mm, nah.
No.
I think, you know, for me personally, like I think the things that we go through, especially as artists and creatives, you know, I wouldn't change anything because those are the things that make you who you are. And those are the things that take you to the top or wherever you're trying to go. You know what I mean? So me personally, I wouldn't change anything because if I did, who knows where I would end up.
Indeed.
Yeah, you know, I can't change nothing because there's too much great things that happen in the beginning for me. So I can't change nothing, man. Everything that I just always knew that you ain't supposed to do everything at one time.
Fair
So
enough.
that's what I always do. I mean, I can't rap and do this and be a movie star and do this. You know, I'm just not getting to that one part. So I'm just glad that I just saved some parts of me that I had some for the fourth quarter and fifth quarter of my career. That's all. Because
That's what's
people
up.
who just gave it all and they're not successful anymore, it's like you burnt through your whole car.
Yeah.
So it's like we didn't do that, neither one of us. So it just gives us so many other places like TV and film to go. It's gonna do nothing but catapult Gipp Worthy even further in the sky.
Yeah, that's a lesson that a lot of people learn when it's way too late in the game, man. And I even had to slow myself down at some point and realize, like, yo, listen, I can either focus on this or I can focus on this. Like, like something's gonna suffer if you try to juggle it all. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But real quick, unpacking some of the records on there, like y'all got with 112, you know what I'm saying, to make it extra saucy. Shout out to the Let You Go record.
Shout out to 112.
Yo, what is something y'all feel like y'all both had to let go to ascend to the next level?
Different relationships with different women.
That is fair. Women hate it when there's other women.
Yeah. So it's just like, that's why I'm having conversations with a lot of women on this on the E5. So, you know what I mean? So, because it's like, even if it's not a relationship you've been in, now I can go back and visit that relationship and tell her what I really wanted to tell her that I couldn't say back then. So in song, time it doesn't wait for nobody. So, but at least when you have a subject that matters across the board, it's going to generally encompassate a lot of people. A lot of people have been through this situation. So for us to be able to write this song with 112, first of all, James was like, yo, I got a record over here with 112. And I was like, what?
Oh, wait. So you already had the hook on deck before y'all even decided to work on the
Yeah. That's something I had in the tuck for a minute.
How did you manage to trap that high level quality of Pokemon and hold on to it, for so long? What was the initial intention for the record before, you decided you was gonna do the Gipp and Worthy thing?
Well, you know what, man? It was a time where I just had so many people in the studio at one time, and we were just working on just different stuff. And that record was just one in the fold to where I didn't know what to do with it at the time. It was just something I had in the catalog, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just go through and see what I got for this project, just so I can get some inspiration. And I stumbled upon it. I'm like, this is different, and it's different for both of us. So I said, look, man, Gipp, see what you could do on this style of record, and we just perfected it.
Yo, man, that's the most subtle flex I ever heard. Like, yeah, I just randomly had a 112 record out. It's just in the back, you know what I'm saying? Right next to these Luther Vandross vocals, and I got Michael Jackson playing harmonica. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, all types of wild stuff. But I know this is the tip of the iceberg and sign of great things to come. I am I'm just happy to know y'all, man. And if there's anything that you want the fans to know, right, after seeing this, what would you say?
Gipp and Worthy here to stay. This ain't a one-time thing, man. This is a part of the book now. So when you come out and do things and have such a great entry into the game, you can't leave people hanging like that. You got to give them 2 or 3 more projects to let them know that thank you for believing in us. So yeah, it'll be more music on the way.
More music on the way. We here to stay. And right now, all I need y'all to do is go search Gipp and Worthy. Go get it if you haven't heard it. I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
It's a whole vibe out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? It's something to cruise to. It's something to set the mood to. It's something to talk to your lady to. Cause I feel like, social media has made it to where a lot of the younger generation don't know how to be a certain level of transparent. And y'all showing a lot of transparency and growth on there. And hopefully the culture at large can learn from this, man. Big Gipp, James Worthy. Much love to y'all. Continued success. And if people want to follow y'all, where can they go?
Appreciate you, bro. Much love to you.
You want to follow Gipp? I mean, Gipp Goody across the board. You can find Gipp Goody. Gipp Goody is all there.
There it is.
At King James Worthy, all social media. Man, just follow us, man, and follow the movement. A lot more coming.
Cool. Yo, Gipp and Worthy is the project. We dropping the artwork right there. You see what that look like streaming. And yo, let's run these streams up, man, and continue to make history, man. Much love, fellas.
Love, Headkrack.
Love.